What kind of mother lies to her own child about Christmas? The words escaped my lips in a whisper as I stared at my phone screen, tears blurring my vision. The Instagram post mocked me with its perfect filter and carefully crafted caption, "Best Christmas ever." Watching the girls open their presents. So blessed. Hashtag family time hashtag Christmas 2024 inch. My sister Jennifer's post showed our parents' living room transformed into a winter wonderland. A towering Christmas tree dripped with expensive ornaments, while underneath, my nieces Isabella and Grace sat surrounded by mountains of presents. Designer clothes. The latest iPad Pro. Premium toys that cost more than our monthly mortgage payment. The timestamp read 8:47 a.m., barely 3 hours ago. My phone buzzed. Mom's name flashed on the screen. For a moment, I just watched it ring, my hand trembling. Then, almost against my will, I answered. "Hello? Lauren, sweetie. Merry Christmas." Mom's voice was bright, cheerful. As if nothing was wrong. As if she hadn't just participated in the most elaborate act of family betrayal I'd ever experienced. I saw Jennifer's post, I managed, my voice barely steady. A pause. Then, oh, that. Well, you know how your sister is with social media. Always making things look bigger than they are. Mom, I can see the presents. The decorations. The family breakfast. The same breakfast you told me you weren't doing this year because money was tight. Another pause, longer this time. When she spoke again, her voice had that familiar condescending tone I'd grown up with. "Lauren, honey, you're being dramatic. We just had a small gathering. Jennifer's girls are going through a tough time with their dad's new job hours, and my twins." I cut in, my voice breaking. What about Carter and Alice? What about their tough time, believing their grandparents couldn't afford to buy them Christmas presents? "You've always been our practical one," Mom sighed. "You understand that sometimes we have to make choices." Practical. That word again. The label they'd stuck on me since childhood. Practical Lauren, who didn't need new clothes like Jennifer. Practical Lauren, who could handle a smaller allowance because she was more responsible. Practical Lauren, who had her tiny wedding at the community center while Jennifer got a $35,000 country club extravaganza. The choices, I said slowly, like choosing to lie to me? Choosing to exclude my children while spoiling their cousins. "Now you're just being silly," Mom's voice took on an edge. "We sent you a lovely card and—" $8,000, I interrupted. That's what I can see in presents alone in Jennifer's photos. $8,000 worth of gifts for her kids, while you told me you couldn't afford Christmas this year. Lauren. No. My voice was stronger now. No more excuses. No more lies. I saw the family photos. The breakfast spread. The celebration you told me wasn't happening. You didn't just exclude us, Mom. You deliberately deceived us. "You're overreacting," she snapped. "This is exactly why we sometimes have to handle things differently with you. You get so emotional. Emotional?" I laughed, but it came out more like a sob. My 7-year-old twins spent weeks making homemade cards for grandparents who couldn't even bother to call them this morning. They believed you couldn't afford presents this year, so they asked Santa for small things because they didn't want to burden anyone. Meanwhile, their cousins are unwrapping thousands of dollars worth of gifts in the family celebration we were told wasn't happening. Downstairs, I could hear Carter and Alice playing with their modest gifts, craft supplies and secondhand books we'd carefully chosen, trying to make our simple Christmas as special. My heart ached thinking of how they'd tried to hide their disappointment, how they'd stopped asking why Grandma and Grandpa never came to their school events while their social media feeds filled with photos from their cousins' every activity. "I don't have to justify our choices to you," Mom's voice was cold now. "When you're a parent, you'll understand." I am a parent. The words burst out of me. I'm a parent who's watching her children learn that their grandparents' love is conditional. That they're somehow less deserving than their cousins. That it's normal to be lied to and excluded by family. "If you're going to be like this," Mom said stiffly, "perhaps we should talk when you're feeling more reasonable." Reasonable. The tears were flowing freely now. Like how you reasonably told us there was no money for Christmas while spending thousands on Jennifer's kids. Like how you reasonably skip every one of the twins' school events but never miss their cousins' activities. Like how you reasonably decided we weren't worth including in the family Christmas photo. Lauren, you're being childish. No, Mom. For the first time in my life, I'm being honest. And you know what? I'm done. Done making excuses for you. Done pretending this is normal. Done teaching my children that conditional love is all they deserve. My finger hovered over the end call button when I heard her intake of breath. You don't mean that. We're family. Family doesn't do this, I whispered. Family doesn't lie. Family doesn't exclude. Family doesn't make children feel less worthy of love. Mom. Carter's voice called from downstairs. Can we show you our snowflakes? I looked at my phone, at the stream of notifications still coming from Jennifer's perfect Christmas post. With a steadiness that surprised me, I said, Mom. Don't call us again. I blocked her number. Then Jennifer's. Then Dad's. Not in anger, not in spite, but in protection. Protection of my peace, my children's self-worth, our family's future. Coming, sweetheart. I called down to Carter, wiping my eyes. Michael, my husband met me at the bottom of the stairs, concern etched on his face. He'd heard enough to understand. You okay? I looked at our twins, proudly displaying their carefully cut paper snowflakes. At our modest living room with its simple decorations and few presents. At the husband who loved me unconditionally. No, I answered honestly. But I will be. We all will be. What I didn't know then was that this was just the beginning. That standing up to years of manipulation and conditional love would set in motion a chain of events that would test everything I thought I knew about family, love, and most importantly, my own worth. But in that moment, watching my children's faces light up as they showed me their creations, I knew one thing for certain: sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop accepting the love you think you deserve, and start demanding the love your family actually needs. I thought blocking their numbers would bring peace. Instead, it unleashed a storm I never saw coming. 3 days after Christmas, I was grading papers in my classroom during lunch break when a familiar shadow fell across my desk. The expensive perfume hit me before I looked up. What kind of daughter blocks her own mother? Mom's voice carried across the empty classroom. She stood there in her designer coat, pristine makeup unable to hide the anger in her eyes. My hands trembled slightly, but I kept my voice steady. What kind of mother shows up at her daughter's workplace unannounced? You've left me no choice, she snapped. You're being completely unreasonable. Do you have any idea what you're doing to this family? Which family? I met her gaze. The one you celebrated Christmas with, or the one you lied to? Her face flushed. We didn't lie. We just. Mrs. Wilson? My classroom door opened, and my principal, Mrs. Thompson, stepped in. Is everything all right? We don't allow unexpected visitors during school hours. Mom's expression shifted instantly to her perfect social mask. Oh, I was just leaving. Lauren and I were having a little family chat. A chat that's over, I said firmly. As security escorted her out, she turned back. This isn't finished, Lauren. Family doesn't just walk away. But it was only the beginning. That evening, my phone exploded with notifications. Jennifer had posted a lengthy Instagram story, heartbroken. When your own sister turns toxic and cuts off the whole family because of jealousy. Some people can't handle others' success. Praying for healing. #toxic family, #boundaries, #protect. The comments flooded in: mutual friends, distant relatives, even parents from the twins' school. Everyone taking sides, making assumptions, spreading the story. Did you see what she posted? Michael asked quietly, showing me his phone. I nodded, numb. Block her too. Already did. He wrapped an arm around me. But Lauren, there's something else. He pulled up an email on his phone. His boss had reached out. Apparently, my mother had contacted his workplace, expressing concerns about our family situation and how it might affect his upcoming promotion review. They can't really. They can try, he said grimly. But we won't let them win. The next morning, Carter came home from school with tears in his eyes. Mom, why is everyone saying mean things about you? My heart stopped. What mean things, sweetie? Isabella told everyone at school that you're a bad person who hates family. And now Tommy won't play with me because his mom says you're toxic. I held him close, fury building in my chest. Using children as weapons, I never thought they'd stoop so low. But they were just getting started. A week later, I received an envelope at work. Inside were photos, old family pictures, each one carefully chosen to show Jennifer's family being lavished with attention while we stood awkwardly to the side. A note fell out. Is this why you're so bitter? Because you could never measure up. I recognized Jennifer's handwriting. That night, as Michael and I discussed our options, another email arrived. This one from Dad's lawyer. Apparently, they were concerned about a $5,000 loan they'd given us 2 years ago for the twins' medical bills. A loan I had documentation showing we'd repaid in full. They're trying to break us, I whispered. Michael took my hand. Then they don't know how strong we are. But strength was tested again the next day when Alice came home sobbing. Her best friend's birthday party had been cancelled, or rather, moved to Jennifer's house, with Alice specifically uninvited. Why don't they want us anymore, she asked, breaking my heart. I started to answer, but my phone buzzed, another public post from Jennifer, so sad watching my girls miss their cousins. But sometimes we have to protect our children from toxic influences. Real family understands sacrifice. #boundaries, #toxic family, #healing. The comments section filled with support for her, condemning me. Friends we'd known for years taking sides without ever asking our story. That weekend, we ran into them at the local mall. I was helping Carter pick out new shoes when I heard Jennifer's voice carrying across the store, "Oh look, girls. It's the family that thinks they're too good for us now." I grabbed Carter's hand, ready to leave, but Michael stepped forward. Enough, he said, his voice quiet but firm. You've done enough damage. Jennifer's face twisted. Damage? You want to talk about damage? Mom's blood pressure is through the roof because of your wife's dramatics. Dad can barely focus at work. But of course, Lauren only thinks about herself. Like you thought about us at Christmas? The words burst out before I could stop them. While you were opening thousands in presents, my children were making handmade cards for grandparents who couldn't even call? A small crowd had gathered. Jennifer smiled, that perfect social media smile. See? Always the victim. Always jealous of what others have. Maybe if you'd worked harder instead of teaching art to kids. Don't you dare. Michael's voice cut through the tension. Don't you dare suggest Lauren is less than you because she chose to inspire children instead of marrying money. The mall security arrived then, asking us all to leave. As we walked out, Jennifer called after us, "This isn't over, Lauren. Family always comes back together." But that night, as I tucked the twins into bed, Alice asked a question that changed everything. Mom, if family always comes back together, why did they push us away first? I looked at my daughter, really looked at her. 7 years old and already wiser than her aunt could ever hope to be. Sometimes, sweetheart, I said carefully, people confuse love with control. Real family doesn't make you earn their love. Like how you and Daddy love us no matter what? Exactly like that. Later, as Michael and I lay in bed, my phone buzzed one last time. A message from an unknown number, Mom's in the hospital. Blood pressure crisis. I hope you're happy with what you've done. I showed Michael the message, my hands shaking. They're manipulating you, he said softly. If she's really in the hospital, it's because of her own choices, not yours. But what if? No. He took my phone gently. No more what ifs. You're not responsible for their happiness, Lauren. You're responsible for our children's well-being. And right now, they need you strong. He was right. But strength would be tested even further in the days to come, as the battle lines were drawn deeper, and the true cost of standing up to toxic family love would become painfully clear. What I didn't know then was that this was just the middle of the storm. The real test of our family's strength, and my own resolve, was still to come. They say karma comes when you least expect it. For my family, it arrived on a sunny Tuesday morning in February, wrapped in an innocent-looking email from my old college friend who now worked at Jennifer's husband's investment bank. "Lauren, you need to see this. Your sister's perfect life? It's all built on credit cards and lies." Attached were public records of Jennifer's spending, 17 maxed-out credit cards, totaling over $285,000 in debt. Designer clothes, luxury vacations, expensive gifts, all financed with money she didn't have. Her successful lifestyle was a house of cards, and it was about to come crashing down. I stared at the screen, my hands shaking. This was the truth behind all those perfectly curated Instagram posts. Behind the mockery, the superiority, the endless displays of wealth that had made my children feel less than. "What are you going to do?" Michael asked quietly. I looked at the twins playing in the backyard, remembered their tears over Christmas. "Nothing," I said. "Karma's about to do it for me." The next day, Jennifer's carefully constructed world began to unravel. Her husband's bank launched an internal audit, questioning the lavish lifestyle that didn't match their declared income. Her pristine credit score plummeted as multiple payments bounced. Those designer handbags and premium gadgets she loved flaunting? Many were found to be knockoffs, purchased from questionable sources. But the real bombshell dropped at the monthly PTA meeting. "Did you see Jennifer's latest post?" one mother whispered to another. "About her Gucci bag collection?" "You mean the fakes?" another chimed in. "My cousin works at Gucci. Those exclusive limited editions she's been bragging about? They don't even exist." The whispers spread like wildfire. Jennifer's social media empire, built on perceived wealth and superiority, began crumbling. Her followers started noticing discrepancies in her posts, photoshopped labels, recycled vacation photos, staged gift presentations. Then came the corporate scandal. Dad's supposed successful consulting firm was found to have been hemorrhaging money for years. The country club membership, the luxury cars, the lavish gifts, all maintained through creative accounting that was now under investigation. "Your father's firm is facing an audit," Michael's friend at the tax office informed us. "They've been writing off personal expenses as business costs for years." Jennifer's marketing consultancy fees? Pure fiction. The perfect family facade was shattering, piece by piece. Mom's carefully cultivated social status wasn't spared either. Her bridge club friends discovered she'd been spreading malicious lies about multiple members. The same manipulation tactics she'd used on me for years were exposed in a group chat leak that went viral in their social circle. To think we believed her stories about Lauren being jealous and unstable, her former best friend commented on a community Facebook post. When all along, she was the one orchestrating this toxic environment. The country club revoked their membership. Dad's golf buddies stopped returning his calls. Jennifer's Instagram followers dropped by thousands as people realized the extent of her deception. But the sweetest vindication came from an unexpected source, the twins' school. Mrs. Taylor, the principal, called one afternoon. "We owe you an apology. We've received multiple complaints about Jennifer's behavior, using the children to spread malicious gossip. This isn't the example we want to set for our students." The tide had turned. Parents who had shunned us now approached with apologetic smiles. Kids who had been told to avoid Carter and Alice suddenly wanted playdates. The truth has a way of emerging, and when it did, it was devastating. Jennifer's perfect world collapsed spectacularly. Her husband, facing professional scrutiny, finally discovered the extent of her shopping addiction. The luxury car was repossessed. The designer wardrobe? Mostly returned or revealed as counterfeit. Her social media influence evaporated as followers realized they'd been deceived for years. Then came the final blow: Mom and Dad could no longer afford to bail her out. "How could you let this happen?" Jennifer screamed into my voicemail. "You're supposed to be family." I played the message for Michael, who just smiled. Funny how family becomes important when they need something. The karma train wasn't finished. Dad's firm's audit revealed years of financial misconduct. The investigating team discovered he'd been writing off personal expenses, including Jennifer's lavish Christmas gifts, as business costs. The resulting fines and legal fees devastated their savings. Mom's social standing, her most prized possession, disintegrated. Her bridge club publicly ousted her. The charity board she'd lorded over for years asked for her resignation. Her careful manipulation of multiple social circles was exposed, leaving her isolated and humiliated. One morning, I received an unexpected email from Jennifer's husband, Lauren. "I owe you an apology. I've enabled this behavior for years, believing Jennifer's version of events. The truth about Christmas was the final straw. We're selling the house and starting counseling. I hope someday you can forgive us." The local community Facebook group, once Jennifer's kingdom of carefully curated perfection, turned into a wasteland of unflattering revelations. Former friends shared stories of borrowed clothes passed off as new purchases, staged vacation photos, and fake charity donations. "Remember when she claimed to donate $10,000 to the school fundraiser?" one comment read. Turns out she didn't give a penny. But the most satisfying moment came during the spring parent-teacher conference. Carter's art project, a beautiful mixed-media piece about family, won the district competition. The local newspaper covered the story, featuring a photo of our happy, genuine family celebration. Jennifer couldn't resist commenting on the article online. "Some people get validation from small achievements while others aim higher." The backlash was immediate and devastating. Her remaining followers deserted en masse. The truth about her fake designer lifestyle became a cautionary tale in local social circles. Her perfectly curated Instagram feed, once a weapon used to hurt us, became evidence of her deception. Then came the family reunion, not the carefully orchestrated show of wealth and status they used to be, but a raw, honest gathering called by my Aunt Kate. "We need to address what's happened," Kate announced to the assembled relatives. "The manipulation, the lies, the financial deceptions, it ends now." Mom tried to interrupt, but Kate silenced her with a look. "We've seen the evidence, Patricia. The fake lifestyle, the favoritism, the deliberate cruelty to Lauren's children. You're not the victim here." Dad attempted to defend their actions, but his voice died as Linda produced a folder of financial records. "Explaining these creative accounting practices to the IRS will be interesting, won't it, James?" The family's support, once weaponized against us, turned to understanding and remorse. Cousins approached with apologies. Aunts and uncles acknowledged their role in enabling the toxic behavior. The power dynamic had shifted irreversibly. But the real victory wasn't in their downfall, it was in our rise. The twins flourished, free from the weight of conditional love. Carter's art continued to win acclaim, while Alice's confidence soared. Michael's career advanced naturally, without the shadow of family manipulation. Our home, modest but filled with genuine love, became a haven for relatives seeking escape from the toxic atmosphere of performative wealth. Jennifer's final attempt at redemption came in the form of a tearful phone call. "I'm sorry. I've lost everything, my credit, my reputation, my friends. Please, help me fix this." "No," I replied calmly. "You haven't lost everything. You've just lost the fake life you built to feel superior. Maybe now you can learn to live authentically." Mom and Dad made one last attempt at control, showing up at our door unannounced. But this time, I wasn't the one who turned them away. "Grandma, Grandpa," Carter said firmly, standing beside me. "We don't want fake love anymore. We have real love here." Alice nodded, holding my hand. "And real love doesn't need designer labels or Instagram likes." Watching them drive away, their expensive car now repossessed and replaced with a modest sedan, I felt no satisfaction in their downfall. Instead, I felt freedom. Freedom from the weight of their expectations, from the constant competition, from the need to prove our worth through possessions and appearances. The local news eventually picked up the story, not of the family drama, but of our community art program, started with the money we used to spend trying to keep up with Jennifer's fake lifestyle. The twins helped teach younger kids, their genuine enthusiasm worth more than all the staged Instagram posts in the world. Jennifer's social media empire imploded spectacularly. Her attempts to rebrand as authentic and living simply were met with skepticism and receipts of her past deception. The carefully constructed facade she'd used to torment us became the instrument of her own social destruction. Mom and Dad's financial house of cards collapsed completely. The audit expanded, revealing years of misappropriated funds and fake charitable contributions. Their social circle, once a weapon used against me, turned its back completely. But the sweetest victory came in the form of an unexpected gift: perspective. "Mom," Alice said one evening, as we looked through old photos, "I'm glad we're not rich like Aunt Jennifer pretended to be. We're rich in the real way." "The real way?" I asked. Carter chimed in. "We have love that doesn't need to be posted on Instagram to be real." Looking at my family, my real family, built on love rather than appearances, I realized that karma hadn't just brought justice. It had brought clarity. The expensive gifts and designer labels had been replaced with something far more valuable: authenticity. Our modest home, filled with laughter and genuine affection, had become the envy of the very people who once looked down on us. And that, perhaps, was the greatest revenge of all. 1 year later. The Sunday morning peace was shattered by an unexpected knock at our door. I opened it to find Jennifer, Mom, and Dad standing there, a shadow of their former selves. Jennifer's designer clothes had been replaced by off-brand basics, her perfectly manicured appearance now showing signs of wear. Mom's expensive jewelry was gone, her proud posture diminished. Dad's luxury car was nowhere to be seen. Instead, a used sedan sat in our driveway. "Lauren, please," Jennifer's voice cracked. "We need your help." I stood in the doorway, taking in their desperate expressions. The past year had stripped away their carefully constructed facade. Jennifer, living in a cramped one-bedroom apartment, working as a retail clerk after her divorce and financial ruin. Mom and Dad, forced to sell their mansion and move to a small condo in a retirement community after Dad's firm's collapse and the tax fraud investigation. "The bank is foreclosing on Mom and Dad's condo," Jennifer explained. "And I can't make rent this month." "We thought maybe." "You thought what?" My voice was calm but firm. "That you could show up here after everything, and I'd open my checkbook?" "We're family," Mom stepped forward, her voice taking on that familiar manipulative tone. "Family helps each other in times of need." "Family." I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Like when you helped us at Christmas. When you excluded my children while spoiling their cousins. When you lied about not having money while spending thousands on Jennifer's kids." "That was different," Dad protested weakly. "We made mistakes, but—" "Carter." "Alice. Time for your art presentation." Michael's voice called from inside, reminding me of what really mattered. "My real family is waiting," I said. "The family that values love over appearances, truth over social media likes, and genuine connections over designer labels." "Please," Jennifer tried one last time. "My electricity is about to be cut off. I'm eating ramen noodles every night. The girls barely want to visit my apartment." "You mean the girls who made my children feel worthless? Who bullied them at school because of your lies?" I shook my head. "The answer is no. Not now, not ever." I closed the door on their pleading faces, turning back to what really mattered. In our living room, Carter and Alice were setting up their latest projects for our monthly community art showcase. Carter's award-winning paintings lined one wall, while Alice's science projects about sustainable gardening filled another. Our modest home buzzed with activity. Parents and children from the community arrived for the art program we'd started, not for social media posts or status, but for genuine connection and growth. Kate helped organize refreshments in the kitchen, her cafe's homemade treats adding to the warm atmosphere. "Mom," Alice called out excitedly. "The university science program wants me to present my garden project at their youth symposium. And the gallery sold 3 of my paintings." Carter added, his face beaming with genuine pride. Michael wrapped his arm around me as we watched our children shine. His recent promotion to head librarian had allowed us to buy this house, not the biggest or most luxurious, but filled with real love and authentic happiness. Through our front window, I watched my former family slowly walk to their used car, shoulders slumped in defeat. They had lost everything: their wealth, their social status, their carefully curated image. Jennifer's Instagram empire had crumbled. She couldn't even afford a smartphone anymore. Mom's social circle had evaporated, leaving her isolated and humbled. Dad's golf club membership and business connections were long gone. But we had gained everything that mattered. Our garden flourished with vegetables and flowers the children had planted. My art therapy program had gained national recognition, helping children break free from social media pressure. Michael's library programs touched countless lives in our community. The news crew is here. Kate called out. They want to feature your community art program in their Local Heroes segment. As I turned away from the window, letting the past drive away in that used sedan, I saw my present and future: a home filled with love, children thriving without the pressure of perfection, a community brought together by genuine connections. Mom, Alice said, hugging me tight. We're the rich ones now, aren't we? Rich in the real way. Yes, sweetheart, I smiled, watching Carter teach younger kids how to mix colors. We have the kind of wealth they never understood. That evening, as our house quieted and the last of the community members left, Michael and I sat in our garden. The twins were inside, working on their next projects, their confidence and creativity flourishing in an environment of unconditional love. You did the right thing today, Michael said, squeezing my hand. I know, I replied, watching the sunset paint our modest home in golden light. They wanted to take from us again. But we've built something they can't touch, something real. Our victory wasn't just in their downfall or in our success. It was in breaking free from toxic family patterns, in teaching our children the true meaning of worth, in building a life rich with authentic love and genuine achievement. Let Jennifer work her retail job, living with the consequences of her choices. Let Mom and Dad face their twilight years without their artificial status. We had something better, something real. As we headed inside, the lights of our home warm and welcoming, I knew we had achieved something my former family never could with all their designer labels and social media posts: true happiness. We had won, not by destroying them, but by building something better. Something genuine. Something real. And that was worth more than all their lost fortunes combined.